What's up YouTube and welcome back to the Safe Zone. My name is Cole, or the Mass Reactor, and today we are here for another episode of the complete story of the Dream SMP, the L'Manberg Revolution. Now after the first video, it was a bit chaotic because Tommy was like the main character in that video, and there was just like a ton of fighting. But I assume with the title, The Revolution, it's going to get much more serious. So I'm really excited to see where it takes this video, and if you are as well, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, leave a like, and also leave a comment on who you think I should react to next. I'm working through a bunch of different YouTubers right now, but if there's any that you don't see that you want to, make sure to comment it down below. I will definitely look into them. And I'm really excited for this, so without further ado, let's get to the video.
Independence or death. Following the events of the First War in the Dream SMP, tension...
Oh, real quick, before I start the video, I will know some things because I watched the animatic and it kind of spoiled some things, which I'm sad about, but I don't remember it too well. I'll probably remember it after it happens in the video.
Between Dream and Tommy and Tubbo did not go away. Having been the only people to stand up to Dream, Tommy and Tubbo were not exactly friends with the most powerful man on the server.
You could say that,
but
yeah.
They couldn't fight back. They didn't have the resources, the people, or the will to start another battle.
I love these like recreation, just
Until
like dances
a new player
that
joined,
Evan does.
who would change everything. Today, I will tell a story. A story of independence. A story of a people who rose up against tyranny. A story of revolution. This is part 2 of the story of the Dream SMP.
So hype. I'm so hyped.
Really quick, this video took weeks to make, so if you could take 1 second to subscribe, it is completely
You
free.
totally should. These videos are great.
Day. Thank you.
Subscribe to him
Also,
and then come back and
thanks
subscribe
again
to me.
to Lord Cantor for letting me use his recreation of the Dream SMP for this video. Make sure to go check out his channel if you're interested in seeing how he did it.
But these
Again,
builds are amazing.
The link is in the description. Anyway, let's start from the beginning.
As we should.
Wilbur Soot. A songwriter, comedic genius, and visionary.
What?
Coming up with some of the most influential ideas in recent Minecraft history, Wilbur is a mastermind of virality.
Should I react to these?
Creating his first video on March
comment.
29th, 2019, and using his experience from his time with the channel
that camera
Soot
quality.
House, Wilbur, in just under 2 years,
I can't talk, but
has amassed over 3 million subscribers.
Wow. That's
so
insane.
when it was announced that he would be joining the Dream SMP, people knew things would change. But no one expected how much it really would. Being a genius of words and stories, Wilbur brought something to the table that no one had really considered. Tommy had had a rough idea of how the Disc Saga would go, but for the next story, Wilbur would take it a step further.
So is it like
the introduction of Wilbur marked a turning point in the SMP from a jumbled mess of conflict
to
he's something more.
Like organizing.
From this point on, the story of the SMP would be planned out
there's so many?
for the most part before it happened. Scripted improvisation.
Okay, so it's like...
And Wilbur,
that's cool. I like improv.
Began his story the day he logged on. This marked the true beginning of the storyline of the Dream
There's just
SMP.
so much. It just like keeps building.
Wilbur saw an opportunity in the Dream SMP. Not an opportunity for power or an opportunity for war, but an opportunity for business.
Yeah.
And on July 24th, he logged on to the SMP and began moving forward. He started by building a caravan, Camar van, the base of operations for his business. After this, he went to recruit his first business partner, Tommy Innit. He then explained his master plan for their business. After tricking the rest of the SMP members into giving up all of their blaze rods and brewing stands, Tommy and Wilbur would be able to produce all of the potions on the server, profiting from the newfound rarity.
Is this like a drug van? What?
Agreeing without hesitation, Tommy joined Wilbur, and together, they began sweeping the server, convincing players to give up their brewing stands and blaze rods. They started with Tubbo. Tubbo, who trusted Tommy and Wilbur, fell victim to the scam, giving his brewing stands and water breathing potions. That being said, not everyone was convinced. One man saw right through their plan.
Dang, Sapnap's like way outgeared them.
As Tubbo attempted to give up a stack of blaze rods to the new business partners, Sapnap punched Tommy out of the way, taking them for himself. With further suspicion of their operation, Sapnap followed Tommy and Wilbur back to their van, taking it upon himself to investigate. Entering the truck,
the feds.
Sapnap, against the will of Wilbur and Tommy, began looking around. And it only took him a few seconds to enter the back of the truck and find their brewing stands, thus exposing their plans of scanning the server into giving up all of their potion-making supplies. With their backs against the wall, the duo attempted to enlist the help of Fundy. Their plan to get Fundy on their side was to frame Sapnap as the bad guy. They then proceeded to hide the evidence of their plans from Fundy, who then decided to join them.
That worked? What?
After this, Sapnap had enough. Attempting to arrest Wilbur and Tommy, Sapnap ended up killing Tommy purely for taunting him. This prompted Tubbo, who was on the side of Sapnap after being scammed by Tommy and Wilbur, to reconsider his position.
It's like, these guys stole from
his
me,
loyalty
this
to
guy
Sapnap wavered, for now, he remained on the side of the law.
Wait, why is there a blue sheep in the background? What, did you see that?
Being completely outgeared, Wilbur, Tommy, and Fundy retreated to the van. And right as they thought things couldn't get any worse, they did. As it turns out, Tommy had some unfinished business with Punk, having stolen from him once again.
Yeah.
And as the team retreated to the van, Purpled and Punk came to confront Tommy.
Tommy's just not a good ally.
Things were not looking good for the new business, and if the team wanted a chance to escape, they had to think of something fast. And quickly, a plan began to form. Wilbur walked out of the van, stalling Purpled and Punk just long enough for Tommy to escape through the floor of the van into a cave.
Sneaky.
Shortly after, the two noticed and began to pursue him.
Not so sneaky.
Wilbur, confronted only by Tubbo, logged out of the game to buy some more time. Lastly, Fundy stayed in the caravan, along with Tubbo and ERET, another member of the SMP who had recently joined. The guards stood, awaiting Wilbur to rejoin.
ERET was one of the ones
Meanwhile,
from the animatic.
Pursuit of Tommy continued.
Right?
And before
I remember
long,
that name.
They had found him. Surrounded, Tommy surrendered, being escorted to jail on half a heart. With the news of Tommy being captured, one of the guards, Tubbo, began escorting Fundy to jail as well for conspiring to help Wilbur and Tommy. All that remained in the van was ERET, the final guard standing between Wilbur and freedom. But in a surprising turn of events, ERET betrayed the other guards, choosing to help the enemy instead. And just like that, ERET was an ally of the business. Knowing he was safe, Wilbur logged back in and conspired with ERET to free Fundy and Tommy. Their plan to free Fundy was easy as he was still being escorted by Tubbo. ERET would convince Tubbo to let him finish the escorting of Fundy to court, where he would then bring Fundy to his house, allowing him to plant Wilbur the ingredients for an invisibility potion. And the plan would have worked. But when Fundy and ERET reached Fundy's house, Purpled was there.
Oh no.
Little did they know he had been spying on them in their voice call the whole time, and knew ERET had betrayed them. He then quickly informed Sapnap of the news and requested him to come to Fundy's base as Punk. While Sapnap was leaving for Fundy's base, he left Punk in charge of watching Tommy. As the two sat in the courthouse, they began to talk.
Is Punk gonna betray them now?
And before long, Tommy had convinced Punk to help him escape.
How?
Tommy's plan was to have Punk draw the guards back to the courthouse and escape through a hole he dug in the back of his cell. This was perfect timing for Sapnap and Purpled, as Sapnap had just arrived at Fundy's base and the two guards began escorting Fundy and ERET to court. Tubbo, meanwhile, traveled back to the van to keep an eye on Wilbur. After Wilbur transformed the van from the potion brewing station it was to a hot dog van, Tubbo, with Wilbur's permission, investigated. Finding nothing out of the ordinary,
Well, I guess it is the drunk
compensation
van.
of 10 gold for the disturbances they had caused earlier. And gold was one of the main materials he needed to make the invisibility potion.
Wait, why?
The plan was beginning to fall into
it's golden
place.
carrots, right?
Although it had hit some rough patches, there was still a solid chance of the prisoners escaping.
If people keep betraying
and
them,
as the
yeah.
guards escorted Fundy and Eret back to court, Wilbur continued gathering the resources for the potions. Before long, the trial had started and they were running out of time to escape. Ponk had been figured out and was thrown in jail with Tommy.
Well,
And Purple went off looking for Wilbur, who had just began brewing. With Purple gone and Wilbur about to be compromised, all 4 of the prisoners dug out of their cells and ran.
they probably should have confiscated their
Was on
pool.
the run. After some fighting, everyone decided it would be best to meet back at the van. And as they were coming back, Tubbo and Wilbur began to talk.
Now
After
Tubbo's gonna
explaining
turn.
his plans to Tubbo and talking of the injustice they had done to him and his accomplices, Tubbo decided to join his side. And just like that, with everyone safe in the van and a new member on their side, the businessmen had been through enough. They knew that the next time
businessman
they logged on,
revolution.
they had
It's
to
Wall
fight
Street
back.
all over again.
And Wilbur had an idea. One that would send the server into further chaos and begin one of the most famous stories on the SMP. The team would no longer be businessmen. They would be citizens of a new nation. They would begin a revolution.
Viva la revolution!
Before we continue, I'd like to give a quick thanks to...
No, you won't.
1 week passed before their country was officially born. In that week, as well as the time before Wilbur joined, a lot had changed on the server. New players and new builds.
The tunnel?
During the time
What?
of peace after the First War, 2 new players joined the server. These players were Skeppy and Eret. For the most part, Skeppy did not play a major role in the
That
story
skin is
other
just
than
so
burning a
distracting.
new disc Tommy had gathered after the First War.
How cruel.
Eret, on the other hand, did, and would play a
thing that
major
didn't
role
spark a
in
war.
the new
Like,
nation
what?
of L'Manberg. At least for a little while. The new builds included a sewer system that led to many areas of the server, Eret's castle, which eventually housed the throne for whoever held the title of King of the Dream SMP,
Oh, that's what
a
like
jungle
the
base
Dream and
built
George were
far
talking
away by
about.
Tubbo,
in
and
the
a few new
animatic.
towers here and there. Bit by bit, development continued on the server, until the day L'Manberg was born. This day marked the beginning of a new era in the Dream SMP, an era of independence. Three
Hog?
days. That's how long the war would last.
Man, I
In
wish.
3 days,
I wish
the
wars
fate of
would
their
last
nation
3
would be
days.
decided, and the wills of the men, and Tommy, who created it, would be tested beyond their limits. But before they could begin a revolution, their great nation needed a name. And Tommy had just the idea.
L'Manberg?
idea.
Burst through the door.
God.
Manberg, or alternatively, Mantopia.
I like Mantopia.
Yeah?
How do we make it European? Le Manberg.
L'Manberg. Yeah, that's funny.
L'Manberg.
L'Manberg. Where do you live?
I like-
live in the state of
I like how it's like kind of
After
like a
the name was
spawn from a
decided,
joke.
the fellow citizens began to build a wall to distinguish their land from the greater Dream SMP. In their new nation, anyone would be allowed to make potions without being arrested, and the tyranny of Dream and his fellow Americans would no longer
His
affect
fellow Americans.
This
That's funny.
was the
Isn't
dream.
George British though?
them. And
What?
along with Wilbur, Tommy, and Tubbo, Fundy and Eret joined the new nation. Upon hearing the news of revolution brewing on the server, Dream went to confront the members of L'Manberg. This time, they didn't hide anything. The team explained
Viva la
that everything
revolution.
inside the walls was their land and would be governed and cared for by them, separately and under no rule of the greater Dream SMP. Included would be Tommy's Hill House, which would remain property of their nation as the Lamberg Embassy.
That's cool.
Dream, however, was not convinced and left to conspire with his friends about what to do. Before long, Dream began bribing Tommy to leave
I will bring
Lamberg
you a
and
woman.
rejoin the greater Dream SMP.
Woman sign,
But
woman,
he would
woman.
have to do better than that if he wanted someone to turn. That being said, Wilbur still questioned
Tommy's so
devotion
easily
to the
distracted.
cause.
All you've done for this nation is you're one of the faces of it, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
But you need to
Thank
understand
you.
that you've done very little in terms of setup. I mean, look behind you. Look at ERET working hard.
As the two continued to talk,
Poor
Wilbur
Tommy.
still questioned whether Tommy was truly devoted to the revolution or just there to be a face of the nation. And after they reached an agreement, Phase 2 of Wilbur's plan began to take shape.
I'm gonna move my camera because I'm blocking Wilbur's camera.
But then, Tommy noticed something out of place.
That would be out
After
of place.
alerting the rest
yeah.
of the squad about what was happening, Tommy saw It's Alyssa walking away from the fire.
Yes, very stealthy.
She had taken it too far. And as the team chased her down, she logged out to escape death. The team camped where she disconnected. Wilbur convinced Tommy to take off his armor and use his words.
Yes.
As he would not
Use
let
our
the nation of
words.
Lamberg become the very thing
Negotiate.
he sought to destroy. Upon Alyssa rejoining, she began to run and Tommy killed her anyway.
Well,
For Wilbur, this was the final straw. And when they all got back to Lamberg, he temporarily dismissed Tommy, making him go back to his home in the greater Dream SMP.
oh.
But then, word got out that Tubbo was being held hostage by Dream, Sapnap, and Puns. Tommy knew if there was any time to regain Wilbur's trust, it was now. By saving Tubbo, he could finally be
way.
the hero for Lamberg he had always
Against
wanted
those
to be.
three? No way.
But they took him hostage as well. After
Yeah.
Tubbo revealed that he had invisibility potions, Dream and Sapnap decided they could not risk them escaping with their stuff and killed both of them. With this, Wilbur
Unfortunate.
knew it was time. Time to make their revolution official. To free themselves of the tyranny and the aggression of the greater Dream SMP, and to officially declare their independence.
Wait.
Independence. And after some
That's how we're
writing,
spelling it?
Wilbur Soot, the leader of the great nation of Lamberg, had drafted their Declaration of Independence.
I love how it's just called the Independence.
Forever, the nation of the Dream SMP have cast great sins.
I love
upon
that
our great
castle
land
build, by
of
the way.
Hata Dog Van.
Looks so nice. Wait,
They
Hata
have
Dog?
robbed
What?
us, imprisoned us, threatened us, killed many of our men. This time of tyranny ends with us. This book declares that the nation which shall be henceforth known as Lamberg is separate, emancipated, and independent from the nation of Dream SMP. The Union of the Masters of Men. Together,
Why is
we
this
are
kind of
one.
like well written?
When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one to dissolve the bonds which bind us, disregarding of this truth is nothing short of tyranny. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men
Now they're
are
just pulling from
created
the
equal.
Declaration.
The right of the people exists above the right of the king, the right of the government, and the right of the economy.
I assume it's in other declarations
From the
too.
Hata
but-
Dog Van, we shall prevail. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of victory.
Almost.
This document was signed by all members of Lamberg and represented much more than
Wait, I
a
thought
mere
Fundy
book.
was a part of Lamberg.
These words were what held the nation together.
Might have just not been there
A
when
vow
they
of
signed.
brotherhood that would only end in independence or death.
That's from the
With
animatic.
the
I remember
framing
that.
of the book, the nation of Lamberg showed itself as a force to be reckoned with. And to Dream, this marked the point of no return. As long as Lamberg stood, Dream knew he couldn't have control. And so,
Dream, maybe you just
him, George,
shouldn't have
Sapnap,
control.
and Puns drafted another document. The Declaration of War.
Yep, there
Unlike
it
the
is.
first war for Tommy's discs, this time there was much more at stake.
You could say that.
This
Yeah,
was
you could
not
say that.
just a war for independence, but a war for power. And Dream would stop at nothing to put L'Manberg in the ground if it was the last thing he'd do.
Dream, jeez, calm down, man.
With the reality of war beginning to set in, both sides began to prepare. Off-stream, Tubbo had gathered potions to aid them in the coming battles.
That's pog.
Meanwhile, Dream had burned down Tubbo's house.
Well,
Because Dream was offline, Tommy and Tubbo used this time to attempt to convince the members of the Dream SMP Guard that they were on the wrong side.
yeah,
They
like
began
that's
this
gonna
by
work.
attempting puns with a meaningless title, hoping he'd get excited and betray his friends. Next, Tommy
He's just
had
gonna
an
get
idea
excited
to tempt
for
Dream.
his friends.
He stated that if Dream refrained from attacking them, he would give up one of the discs. Tommy's
Wow.
most prized possessions on the SMP and the result of a hard-fought war would be put on the line for independence. But as Tommy and
Okay,
Tubbo were
Tommy.
leaving Dream's base, their entire army logged on at once.
Oh no.
Tubbo was gunned down by Dream as Tommy fled to
That
the
name
sewers.
though.
All of the potions that Tubbo had gathered were lost upon his death, being burned by Dream.
Well, there goes that
Soon,
progress.
everyone joined the call and reality began to set in. The Dream SMP army was there, and L'Manberg's was not.
Oh no.
All Tommy and Tubbo could do was stall them and hope for the best. As Tommy
Ew.
arrived at his house to speak with Dream
He
and his
hit his
army,
desk and then,
he
like,
found
was
the
like,
entire
"Ah."
property laced with TNT. As a final effort, Tommy attempted to convince Dream he was in the wrong, but he would have none of it. The line
Yeah,
had already been
alright.
crossed. Damage had been done, and doom was imminent.
And a war is
Dream
definitely.
and his men gave Tommy
in
and the rest of
time now.
L'Manberg one day. One day to surrender, or everything they owned would be destroyed. And so,
Wait, was that
as
Sapnap?
Wilbur received the
Did
news,
Sapnap blow
the true
himself up
preparation
by
for the
accident?
final battle
In a
began.
game. In a game, YouTube.
Tommy and Wilbur and the rest of L'Manchildberg, we are at war.
Do you know what we have that they don't have? We have camaraderie. We have a righteous cause. We have an
The
area
salute.
to defend.
There is no mercy. We have burnt down Tubbo's house. We have planted TNT cannons around your land. We have cobblestone walled the outside, and we have shot one warning shot inside your walls.
No matter what happens, no matter even if he comes, even if
These
he
are actually kind of
destroys
like
the very hot dog van that we
Well
live
done
out of,
speeches.
until the day we stop breathing, that is when L'Manberg has fallen.
And we have no mercy. No
This is from the
mercy for you.
animatic.
Do you know what he's driven by? Greed. Do you know what we're driven by? The defense of our land.
Do you understand? We will come. We will burn down your houses.
Hey yo.
He can destroy the walls.
We will kill
That's not
everything
funny, I'm sorry.
inside your walls,
He can slaughter our friends, our family.
and we will take back the land that is rightfully ours.
But until the day we stop breathing, the minute we let go of that dream, that's when he has won. Men, are you going to let go of that dream?
I want to see white flags.
Yeah,
white
this is the
flags
thing.
outside your base by tomorrow at dawn, or you are dead.
That was a great moment of the animatic too, but it's nice to see it in context. It makes way more sense.
August 4th, the day of reckoning. And as Dream and his army looked to the skies of L'Manberg, no flags flew. Today, there would be war. Before Wilbur logged on, Tommy and Tubbo were attacked.
Wait, that's
After
not
losing a few
fair.
useless items, they retreated to L'Manberg where they waited for the official start of the war. Then their leader Wilbur joined the server.
Yeah, Wilbur.
With Dream and his men camping the cobblestone wall they had built around part of L'Manberg, the revolutionaries retreated to the van and began
Why does
to
the
create
van not have a roof?
plan of action. Wilbur emphasized the importance of the element of surprise, as their team was completely outgeared by Dream's army. While
Yeah,
they
that would
discussed
be a
their plan,
problem.
Dream and his men spread to each wall, surrounding them. Staying true to their peaceful origins, now was not the time to armor up. Using their words,
That's
Wilbur and
dangerous.
Tommy attempted one final
How
time
are you
to resolve
on this
things
fine
peacefully.
day?
But once again,
Dream replied
it
good.
didn't work. and as the two sides regrouped, they prepared for the Battle of the Ages. The war for independence, and most of all,
Independence.
the war for power. Wilbur decided that it would be a greater
Oh, yeah, they
benefit
are
for the
under
group
geared.
if he watched the battle from above. This meant the one leading them into battle would be Tommy. As they began making their way to the
wise?
battlefield, they
I
took it
don't
all
know
in.
about that one.
The final calm before the storm. The last peace. Once the battle began, there would be no rest until someone had won. And having had their moment of peace, both armies moved into position. Let the war begin. The battle began on Tommy's front lawn. Dream and his
no.
men held Tommy's power tower while the Lamamberg
Power
army
tower?
stood in the grass. As the enemies stared each other down, they both waited for the first move to be made. Then, a shot was fired by Dream,
Oh, Dream took the first
but
shot.
it was nowhere close to the opposition.
L.
Confused,
Plus
everyone
ratio?
thought he missed. But he didn't.
Oh no.
This was the first trap of the war and managed to take
I
out
take
Fundy.
it back. I take it back.
Immediately, the Lamamberg
No,
army
Fundy.
retreated
Barely
inside
had any screen
Tommy's
time in
house
this
as
video.
arrows began to rain down from above. Totally undergeared, Tommy crafted a bow and missed the only shot he had. It had been less than a
Tommy.
minute since the first shot was fired, and they were already backed into a corner. As Tommy began to retreat, Wilbur pulled everyone back. They had to hold their ground.
Yeah, no, they can't just be
Placing
retreating
half
the whole
slabs on the
time.
windows, the
But
men
I feel like
began
it would be
returning
smart
fire.
in this scenario
It
to
didn't
retreat.
take long for them to realize that their shots weren't doing much.
Well, yeah,
They
they had
needed
netherite
another
armor.
plan. Tommy suggested purling on top of the tower and knocking them all off. But Tubble reminded him that Dream had his end crystals from when they killed him earlier.
Why did
Fundy,
he have
however,
end crystals?
had a
What?
better idea. Using an invisibility potion, he
Oh,
would sneak up
smart.
the tower, knocking all of them off and escaping unseen.
Smart.
This would be their next plan of action. But as everyone walked outside
Why
to
did
draw
Dream say
fire away from
retreat?
Fundy, they realized the arrows had stopped being fired,
Wait, did they just
and
leave?
Dream's army was falling back to Pong's tower. In an attempt to
Why?
effectively counter their enemy's new position, the Lamamberg army traveled to the nearby Punza's tower. This tower stood at nearly the same height as Pong's tower
Right,
and
wait,
would allow
that
for
looks
the
like
fire
Sara-
to continue.
the two
But
towers.
Dream's
The plot of
army
the two towers.
Didn't climb
What?
the tower. This meant that when Tommy and Tubbo reached the top and
The
began
union
firing
of the
down,
two
the Dream SMP
towers.
army could not shoot high enough to hit them. They were completely
Yeah, no. Why wouldn't you
safe.
climb the tower? What?
Because of this, as well as fire from the rest of the Lamamberg army down below, Dream ordered his men to retreat once again.
It's weird that
This
they're on the back foot.
was
It seems
huge.
way too easy.
Somehow,
Ooh, that was careful.
completely
That was
outgeared,
risky.
Lamamberg was driving Dream's army out of their own land. And with this
How?
victory, ERET convinced the rest of the group to join him in Lamamberg. For he
Wait.
had been grinding for a secret weapon.
Okay.
Something that would turn the tides of the war and secure victory. A surprise attack. But something was off.
Wait, is this?
As the group moved closer and closer to the final
I
control
feel like
room,
the animatic
they
spoiled
only
this, but I
became
don't remember
more
what
and more
happened.
confused
I just remember
until
like
they were all
ERET.
there, gathered around a single wooden button.
no, Eric's gonna
Tommy could
betray
not handle
them.
the suspense and pressed the button.
Tommy would press the
The
button.
room fell silent. Then, the unthinkable happened.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the chest.
That was
Down with the
smart by
revolution,
Eric
boys.
though.
It was never meant to be.
Yeah, that's
Just
the line from the
like
animatic.
that. They all had nothing. All of their armor and weapons had been stolen or burned, and they all retreated to the van. The place where it all began. To take inventory and come up with another plan. Before long, it became even clearer that they had absolutely nothing.
Yeah, no, they're pretty
This meant
down
they
on
would
their
have
luck.
to resort back to the core beliefs of Lamamberg. Winning through words. Wilbur, alone,
This won't
attempted
work.
to negotiate with Dream,
No way with Dream.
but it was no use. And yet another ultimatum was set. If L'Manberg did not fly white flags signifying their surrender of the war, Dream would blow up it all.
Man, he really likes his
Believing
TNT,
this was a
doesn't he?
bluff, Wilbur followed Dream back to L'Manberg, where him and his men gathered at the wall for their final statement.
Oh no.
Then, they all remembered the start of the war. The trap, the explosion. They had to stop. It was too late.
Oh
All they
no.
could do.
How big is the explosion gonna be?
Get back. Don't let this hurt you guys. Don't let this be hurt you.
Wait! Well,
The land, their nation,
that sucks.
the band. It was all gone.
What do you mean?
The
It's
dream
right
of
there.
independence,
It's
a
just
chance
in a
of
million
freedom.
pieces.
Gone with the swift shot of an arrow. And with that, Wilbur, along with his right-hand man, went to negotiate the terms of surrender. And as
I
they
was
met
really
with
expecting
Dream,
this to go differently.
Tommy began to run his mouth, and Wilbur's attempts at calming him were no
Tommy.
use. Tommy went on,
Oh my
insulting Dream
goodness.
and even challenging him to a 1v1 bow duel. But then something happened that was expected by absolutely no one. Dream was interested in the duel. And so, a civilized discussion began, and within minutes, a final duel was in place. The rules were simple. Both
1, 2,
Tommy and
3,
Dream
4,
would line
5,
up on
6,
half
7,
a heart.
8, 9.
After taking 10 paces each, the two would turn around and fire bow shots at each other. The first person to land a shot
This was
would
also
win
in
the
war,
duel.
I think.
The
I don't
stakes
remember who
were the
won, though.
highest they'd ever been. If Tommy won, L'Manberg would be given its independence. But
Independence.
if Dream won, not only would L'Manberg lose its independence for good, but Tommy would have to give Dream Mellow High,
Oh,
one
yikes.
of the 2 discs he won back from Dream in the First War. With everything on the line, the sun fell low in the sky, and it was a showdown. The creator of the server and most powerful man there,
Most
versus
powerful
Tommy.
man.
the scrappy 16-year-old with a dream
He's
of
only
freedom.
16?
They
Bro,
took their
that's
positions.
Weird.
Wilbur stood in the center
Like,
and
I
would
swear,
be counting off their
I swear
10
he was like
paces.
18.
The fate of L'Manberg was now in the hands of Tommy. All his friends could do was watch and pray. The count began.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
The world stood still.
Ooh, that's some nice
And
editing.
then
10 paces fire.
Why'd you jump in the water? What? I give you such a disadvantage. Of course Dream would win.
Tommy had lost. L'Manberg had lost. For the second
Man.
time. And Tommy owed Dream the very disc he spent days fighting to get back. With this, it once again seemed that all hope was lost for L'Manberg. But in one final twist, Tommy had an idea.
Oh?
One that would fly in the face of everything he was known for.
Oh no.
He requested for Dream to join a private call, and he did. This is what happened.
Dream, I know what you want from me. I'll give you both of the discs if you let us have our independence.
What?
Both of them.
Wait. That is a very, very interesting deal.
Yeah, it
That is
is.
very selfless of you. Those are your discs.
For the Manberg, you know? For Wilbur, for Tubbo.
Okay, I will. How about this? I'll grant you technical independence for both discs. We will not go into your grounds unless we're allowed, and we will.
You
not attack
respect
you.
us. Yeah, just independence,
Yes, we
man.
will
Just
respect
independence.
you.
Well, careful, Tommy. You gotta be
Tommy,
careful with technical
Despite for his
independence.
entire time on the SMP thinking only of himself and his own wants and needs, laid down his most prized possessions for the greater good of their nation. This
That's really
story
cool of Tommy,
had a
though.
happy ending, and L'Manberg, against all odds, was free at last. In the light of their victory, Wilbur gathered the men to write the Decree of Independence. It read,
Still independence.
as we
yeah.
gaze upon the swaths of redwood trees, the great hills to our south, and the walls that have protected us for years. I, as the now president of Lemamberg, hereby state,
Suck it, green boy!
life,
Perfect.
liberty, and
Perfect.
the pursuit of freedom. As the sun set on their new nation, Tommy and Tubbo returned to the bench outside Tommy's house. There, they played a different disc to celebrate their independence. With the Lemamberg War ending, the server once again entered a time of peace.
Because everyone's like,
Over
okay.
the next month,
we have to
many
rebuild.
small skirmishes happened, new developments occurred, and new players joined.
Thunder
But the next true
1480
development
or
in their
08.
story would arise in early
Huh?
September. With Wilbur being the self-elected president of Lemamberg, many of the new players, upon hearing this, titled him a dictator.
Yeah, I can
What
see
resulted
that.
from these accusations sparked a
Oh
new
no,
era in the
quackity.
storyline. A different kind of war.
Who's that?
This was the first annual Lemamberg election.
I'm worried about Quackity. Because, like, Quackity's reputation from the mod video I reacted to, he's a character, so I'm excited to see how he plays into the story. I didn't even know he was going to be on the server, so that's cool. Well, oh no, I did. It was in the animatics, right? Yeah, like, I think it was Hog Hunt. Like, Tubbo was like, Big Q, pull the lever. Yeah. It was Hog Hunt. But, I'm interested to see Quackity's role in the whole story. But yeah, that was a much more intriguing story than the first part, I'm not gonna lie. I think that once Wilbur started writing it, I think it definitely picked up. In my opinion, I think it picked up from there. But I'm excited for this next part. I hope you are as well. If you enjoyed this reaction, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a like, and make sure to comment on what you think I should react to next. Either a creator or a specific video. And that's about all I have today. So remember to stay safe out there. See ya.